Hi everyone, this is the continuation part for Angular JWT authentication. In the first part, we have implemented some basic modules for displaying the pages like login and home page, and then we have implemented token-based authentication like with the fake data and with fake JWT token. What we have did, we stored them into the local storage and just simply showed a alert that user is successfully logged in. And we also did decrypted our JWT token and fetch some user information inside of it. Now, what I am going to do in this continuation part, I am going to explain about creating a dashboard page where I am going to display user information on it, and next I am going to implement routing guard to protect the pages of our application based on the user authentication state. And next, I'm going to replace the fake JWT token with the real-time JWT endpoint. Okay, that these are the main targets of this video episode. So first, I'm going to create a dashboard page. For that, uh, in the similar fashion, what we did in first video, we are going to create a new module that is for dashboard. Okay, and files also similar only like dashboard.component.ts dashboard.component.html dashboard.route.module.ts dashboard.module.ts. So these are okay. Now we are going to see the skeleton structure of the dashboard component. I'm not showing the entire scratch code because it is most common code. So to save some time, I'm skipping the implementation from scratch, but I will show the code. In HTML, I'm just displaying the what is called welcome dashboard message, and component is simply simple component. Nothing is written. And next is route module implemented a empty path with and that loads the dashboard component and registered the route module and exports the route module. In the main dashboard module, we are going to import the dashboard route module. Okay, and now if we go to the app routing module, what we will do, we will add a one route like dashboard and loads our dashboard module lazy load. Okay, that is the skeleton structure of this dashboard module. And if you try to navigate to dashboard page, okay, we are able to see our page. Now what I will do in this dashboard HTML component, I want to display some user information like I will show like username. Okay, let's analyze. Okay, and user ID. Okay, to my fake JW token, I will only get these three only regarding the user information. Okay, so we need to bind it here in dashboard when the user is logged in. For that, we need to write a logic in dashboard component where I need to fetch from the where I can fetch the user information. We have discussed it, right? We have a user info observable variable. So in the auth service file, we are going to inject auth service file and we are going to listen for that uh, user info variable in our dashboard component. So let's import the auth service file. Okay, like it is in shared folder. services, auth service, and service. Okay, private auth service. Okay, here I am going to assign a variable like user equal to username. Okay, and ID. Okay, what I will do, I will bind these values in our HTML. Okay, user dot username. Initially, these values are empty. User dot ID. Okay, user ID. Now, dashboard component in on implement method, I am going to observe the listen for the observer, user info observer that is in auth service. Okay, let's implement on init. Okay, so we need to implement lifecycle method on init. What I will do, I am going to here for the observer changes. So what I will do, user equal to this dot, if not this dot, user, this dot auth service dot user info dot subscribe value is equal to user, this dot user dot id equal to value dot user id, and this dot user dot username equal to value dot username value exist only to avoid some error. Okay, let's move this block of code in if condition, and now let's go to our page. Okay, login, enter some dummy data. Okay, now we have value, right? And in login component, we need to navigate to the dashboard page. Okay, this dot, I need to inject router instance into my constructor. Then I can use the route dot navigate. Okay, in the array, I'm going to specify dashboard. Okay, now let's go to our page, reload again, enter some fake data as credentials and check it. Successfully logged in alert, and I am navigating to dashboard. If you see here, you can observe my user information, right? So we are successfully, after login, we are successfully navigated to dashboard page, and in the dashboard page, we are able to show the user information that we have decrypted from the JWT token. Okay, so here our first step of creating a dashboard page is completed. Next, what is pending? We need to route guard our pages. What do you mean by guarding the pages? If you go here, if I refresh, see, I'm not able to see the information, user information, because I have refreshed the page. If I refresh the page, my auth state will be empty, right? We haven't written a logic to fetch our access token and refresh token from the local browser. So we don't, nowhere in our application there is a state regarding to the user information. So that's why we are getting empty user info data. And one more thing is, I want to show that in application and local store, we have authenticated user only. Means authenticated information is available in store. But here one issue is, if the page is reloaded, we are going to losing our user information data. That is one issue. And another issue is, since in spite of I am a logged in user, I am able to see the login page, which is not correct, right? Once the user is logged in, it is no, it's make no sense to display the login page. Okay. And one more thing is, let's clear these cookies. I have cleared, right? So that means no user information in my page. That means I am not a logged in user. But if I navigate to dashboard page, I am navigating. There is no restriction for me to going to restriction to access this page. But what our dashboard page purpose is? Dashboard page purpose is only to show the logged in users. But here for navigation, there is no restriction, right? Any page we are going to access. So to restrict our pages based on their authentication state, we need to implement a concept called guards, which is nothing but Angular route guard. So now next step we are going to implement is Angular route guards. Before going to implement Angular route guards, I want to fix the issue of when user is reload. What I want to do is, let me enter some fake data. Now logged in, right? We are logged in user and we have dashboard. But if I refresh my page, I am losing my user information, right? So I want to fix this data along with the uh, route guards as well. Okay. So for that, to fix the data, what I will do in auth service constructor, I want to load the information user info. Okay. Constructor and load user info. I am going to call this method in the user in auth service constructor so that wherever the auth service, this auth service will be used in the routing guard, so that whenever we inject, it automatically create a memory, right? While creating memory, constructor gets created. So inside of the constructor, we are calling this load user info, right? So it will automatically retrieve the data from the browser local storage. That logic we are going to implement in this load user info. So with now our both issues will get fixed, like user information loss when page is refreshed, and also restricting the pages from the accessing by the users based on their authentication state. So here what I will do, uh, constructor, first I am going to check if user info has data or not. If data, then no need to do anything. If there is no data, then what we have to do, we need to fetch the uh, access token and refresh token from our, what I can say, from our browser local storage. So what I will do, I will copy the same logic, almost the logic inside of the user login will be used here. If you want to, you can make them as a common method. For demo purpose, I am not doing any code refactoring. Okay, let create this object like this, and we will fix these issues as well. What I have to do first, I have to fetch from the browser storage, local storage dot get item. Okay, what I have to get, I have to use the key. So I will store this const access token. So now I have retrieved the access token from the local storage. One more thing, it is not mandatory to have our access token in local storage. Means if user is not logged in, then we don't have any data, right? In that case, there is nothing we can do. We need to implement logic when we have a access token in the browser local storage. So I am going to add one more condition, like if access token contains data, variable contains data. So let's copy inside of. Now what I will do, I will fetch the refresh token directly from the uh, local browser storage, right? Okay. And now we have to get this from decrypted, right? What I will do, I will copy the same login user code, okay, just above this object. I am going to paste it, okay. And now we have to pass our data to our user info object, like data. Okay. So finally, this is our load information logic look like. What is our logic? We will do only when user information not exist. Then next step is, if user information not exist, then we check for the access token. If the access token is available in the browser local storage, what we will do, we will create our user information and we will push that information into user info observer. Okay. Now this method should be called inside of this constructor, so that wherever this auth service will be used, user data gets loaded. Now I am going to use this auth service information in our auth guard, so that before executing the route only, I am able to fetch or create entire user information if that doesn't exist in the user info object. Okay. Now we need to create a auth service. For that, what I will do, sorry, auth service, not routing guard. In the shared folder, create a folder like gods. I'm going to create auth auth.route.guard.ts. Okay. Export class auth route guard. Now to make this auth route guard as a routing guard, we need to implement uh, some methods like can activate. Can activate. Okay, this can activate loads from the router. What is the purpose of can activate? Can activate will be inherited by our custom authguard class. We will register this authguard class against our routes. So whenever the request comes from the user, if the route is matched and if the matched route has any guard, the guard will be executed first. So this connect to means whether to uh, request can enter into that route or not. If this connect to gets has a pre-built method, if that method gets false result, then the execution will be halted. If the method gets a true result, the execution will be proceeded. Okay. So we need to implement that method here for connect to God. So the method is like connect to, and it has couple of, okay. So these are all the return types of this method. We mostly return the either boolean or promise boolean. Okay. So here just remove the error throwing default code, and what we will do, we need to import our auth service from auth service. Okay. And I am going to create constructor for it and inject my auth service. Auth service. Okay. Now what we will do? We try to fetch the user information like constant user data equal to this dot auth service dot user info dot. To get the data from the observable, there is a predefined method like get value. Here we no need to subscribe, so I am using this method. Okay. So what we will do, if user data exists and user data dot user ID exists, means this explains user is logged in. Okay, else user not logged in. Now we need to implement a logic to restrict the users from accessing the pages. Like if user is not logged in, is only eligible to access only uh, pages that are doesn't require authentication. Like if you take our sample example only example, if you're not logged in, user can access home page, login page, but he cannot access dashboard. Okay. For suppose if user is logged in user, then user can access dashboard page, home page, but we should not show him the login page because he is already logged in, right? So these are the conditions we have to keep in our mind so that they should be executed against our cards. So what I will first I will check for before anything else, if state dot URL equal to slash. When the request is from landing page, I no need to check whether it is a logged in user or non-logged in user. Nothing I can check. I can allow him to execute his route. For that, I will give true. Okay. So for landing page, we have successfully implemented our logic. Next, we need to check for our dashboard and login page. Okay. If user is logged in and if he try to access, the login page, at that time, what we have to do? State.url.index of login is greater than -1, means he is trying to log in the trying to access the login page. Okay. At that time, what we have to do? We have to restrict him because he is already logged in user. We should not show him, right? We should navigate him to dashboard or any other specific page that predefined page for a logged in user to show when he is logged in. So for that, I have to inject the router to navigate the user. Private route router snapshot router. Okay. Now I am going to use this router like this dot route dot navigate to. Okay. and return false means we are terminating the process of execution of login request. Okay. Else what we will do finally also return true. Okay. Else if non-logged in user, then what we have to check, if state.url.index of. Similarly, if you have different pages that are only visible for login, then you have to add it in this if condition, or else you need to create for each route separate gods. In that gods, for suppose for logged in user, you create like a logged in god where you will have a logic, this logic. If a non-logged in user, sorry, for a non-logged in user, if you create a separate god, that god will contain this logic. For a logged in user, if you create a separate god, that god will contain this logic. So here I am creating the globally, right? So all the conditions will be within this god itself. So if that is the case, then I need to navigate the user to login page. Login page. Okay. And I need to return false. Final steps are like we need to register this auth guard in our app module, since auth guard will be registered against our routes, right? So I need to add it in the providers array of our app module, and then I'm going to use it against our routes. For that, first go to app module and import the auth guard. And add it in the provider section. And next go to our app routing module, and here I am going to write the guard. So connect to method. Here I need to register my auth guard. Actually, according to us, our home page should be accessed by either it is a logged in or non-logged in user, right? We can actually no need to add a guard itself. Okay, this will execute without guard also. And so like this we are doing, right? We can get rid of the logic in our auth guard. This logic also no need, because we are not adding guard for our home page. Now go to routing module. Here connect to equal to auth guard to auth guard. You can have multiple guards. That is why it is an array. Okay, connect to auth guard. And one more thing I forgot to do here is adding the injectable. And now we will check our guards, how will they work. Okay, now let's test our application. Okay, now I am going to reload my page. Going login. Should be dashboard only. Why it is acting weirdly? Let's add alert here. On reloading, I am getting null value. Okay, let's check in local browser storage. Here we have having data, but we are getting null data. Why? Let's go to our auth service. What we have? Okay, directly we cannot check null for observable because observable will contain some structured object. So we should not do like this. What I have to do? Constant user data equal to this dot user info dot get value. Okay. Instead of this, I will check for user data. I am able to log in, reloading, and I am able to retrieve my user information. Okay. So let's get rid of this log where I have did auth guard. Okay. And test again. We are getting user information without any logs. Now I am trying to click the home page, login page. See, I am not able to navigate, but when I click home page, I am able to go home page because home page is for everyone. See, if I click login also, I am navigating to dashboard. See, okay. So that means our guard is successful. And now what I will do, I want to mention one more thing. In real time example, please make sure that login menu should not be visible to our application, right? Because user is already logged in. We should not show him here. But for easy navigation and demo purpose, I am leaving as it is. If you want, just use this use this variable only, which variable user information variable only into our app component.html file and access the user information. If user information exit, just hide the menu. If you want to do, you can do that. You should do that actually. For demo purpose, I am leaving here. Okay, now I will clear my access token and refresh token. Now, if I try to refresh this dashboard page, it should go to login page. See, I am able to go login page now because there is no authenticated user information in my browser local storage also. So I am able to navigating to dashboard login page only. If I try it also explicitly, my auth guard will protect me. See, it is redirecting me back to login. Okay, so here we have completed our two main steps, like this guarding the page as well as and loading the user information. Okay, and next step we are going to do is I am going to replace this static token. I'm going to replace the static token where we are using static token in auth service here only. Here we are using this static, right? Static JWT token. I'm going to replace this value with the real endpoint. So for this demo, the endpoint I am using is, so for this demo, the endpoint I am using is uh, NestJS. NestJS is a node framework application. So I am going to use that. So for complete documentation, uh, documentation for the NestJS integration and everything, you can check here. In the blog itself, I have explained how to use it. Okay. First thing is, if you click here, you can navigate to my Git repository that is created in the node NestJS. Please download it and then install this command to install NestJS CLI into your local application, sorry, your local system. And next, once the repository is downloaded, go to the source folder and there try to run this command to install all the packages that are registered in the package.json will be installed. Once the packages are installed, you are ready to start our application. To start our application, this is the command. So, and next is I have also given documentation regarding the endpoint. This is my login endpoint. Okay, this is my login endpoint, and here this is the payload. Here one more thing is this payload properties are server specific properties. These do use this only, and also use these credentials only, because I have created only static credentials inside of it, because I am not using any database in my NestJS server application. That is a fully mocked NestJS application that is integrated with the JWT technology. Okay. So if you want, you can test in Postman also, like this result you will get. Okay. So that's all about the documentation regarding integrating our NestJS into our application. Okay. This is my Nest mock.js application. What I will do, I will run this application using this command. Okay. I have already installed NestCLI into my system, and I also already installed packages into my system. So I am directly running the command to start up our application. So now we will go to our Angular application and implement it. For that, we need to import HTTP client module to invoke the REST calls. HTTP, and you will get HTTP client. Just inject the HTTP client into our constructor private HTTP of type HTTP client. Okay, and then what we have to do, here we are going to write on top of this dot HTTP dot post. Okay, I am going to copy the URL from my blog. Okay, my port, it will run automatically. NestJS is 3000, and the endpoint is auth/3000. Okay, and I am going to pass my payload, user payload, and I have mentioned, right, these properties should be like this only. So for that, to confirm that, where this user payload coming from, login component. So login component, right? So these properties are posting here. So these property names exactly matched with my server property name. So I have nothing to do. I can post directly in my service. So next, what we have to do, I'm going to use pipe. Okay, and then I'm going to map. Like to use Rxjs Map Operator. So I'm going to use Rxjs Map Operator. For that, import from Rxjs/operators. Okay, here I can specify map. Okay, inside of map, what I will do, I will fetch the result map. This is nothing but payload that I am going to get when I subscribe this post in my login component. So in this map, what I will do, so here we will get values. So if it is successfully having values, then what we will do, okay, to check the properties that are written from the API, we will go to our documentation. Now to check the payload properties, response payload properties, just click on this image, it will zoom in. See, here is like access hyphen token, refresh hyphen token are the properties. So what I will do, you can remove this console. Sorry, remove this console, and this is as well you can remove, and take these two lines of code here. Okay, what I can say, like value dot access hyphen token. Okay, here we need to mention any different type any. Okay, and here is like value dot refresh underscore token. Just reconfirm it. Access underscore token, refresh underscore token. Okay, those are the properties we are getting. And next, we simply take entire this logic into here. Okay, and here we need to change this value for decryption, and also here, and also change the refresh token value as well. Okay, and finally return some boolean value. True. If values don't come, something happened and return false. Okay, now this is of observable type. Okay, so here it our observable returns boolean value. Now I need to subscribe it in login module. Okay, not login module, sorry, login component. So here what I have to do, I need to subscribe it here. Subscribe it the value of boolean type. Okay, then what I have to do, if value is true, then I need to navigate to here, right? Else false means just I'm going to do a console log, failed to, not console log. Let's alert it, alert failed. Okay, if some error occurred also, we need to do alert like failed. If it is success, it will automatically navigate it to what I can say dashboard page. And last step we need to do, we need to import HTTP module. For that, here I am going to import from @angular common slash http client module. I'm going to write http client module. Okay, now let's test our application with the real what I can say real data. So here I have explained, right, I need to use a test and 1234 only. Username is test and password is 1234 because my backend is also mocked backend. Only I accept those values only. One, my username is test and passwords are 1234. See, it is successfully logged in. If you want, you can test. Let me bring it side and go over your application. So see, now if you observe, now we have some real refresh token and access token that are stored. Let's clear it again. Re-login again. I'm going to use a test and 1234. I want to show the network call to you. Okay. See, network call. network call. So auth.login, my payload, password and username. If you see here, we are getting successful, right? So this is how we need to implement a real-time JWT endpoint into our application. So in this video, what we have checked uh, initial loading user information that is lost when page is refreshed, that is fixed, and also we have guarded our pages against the users based on their authentication state. And next, we have replaced our mocked JWT token with real-time endpoint. So this is all about the JWT access token integration. Up to now, we have only seen the login part, like using the access token. In the next part, we are going to use the we are going to consume a secured endpoint where it needs the our access token as a authorization header to access the secured endpoint, and also we are going to implement the refresh token, how we need to call the refresh token when the access token is expired. All these things will be explained in the next video. So I think this video has delivered some useful information to you all. If you like my video, please subscribe to my channel. Soon I will meet you all with the new videos. Until then, signing off.